today I have a DIY project for you guys that I am really excited to show you. If you've been following me over on my blog, then you've probably seen the inspirations post for it. And what I'm showing you how to make in this video is this. So what is it? Well, you probably guessed from the title that it's a cookbook stand. So it's an iPad and cookbook stand because a lot of people use their iPads to cook. Or they use their iPads for the recipes to cook. So for this, you just put your iPad in here and it just stands like that so that you can easily have visual access to it, and it just tilts it nicely at a great angle for viewing, standing anywhere in your kitchen. But not only that, as I said, it's also a cookbook stand, so this part here is adjustable, so you can fit a book in here. So I'll just show you. So just like that. And then obviously this piece here will help keep the pages open. But I also made it so that if you're using your phone, because some people like to use their phone, my boyfriend uses his phone whenever he's following a recipe, so you just put your phone on there and it also holds your phone. So this is perfect for cooking with all of your devices and your cookbooks. So I think this is an awesome project and I'm really excited to show you guys how to make your own. So let's go check that out. So these are all the copper pieces that you're going to need for this project. These are the fittings and these are the pieces of tubes that you're going to need to cut. You want to buy yourself a 3-foot long piece of the copper tubing, and then you're going to use this little mini tube cutter to cut them into these lengths that you see here. And I'm going to be leaving all of the measurements for these lengths over on my blog so that you can easily refer to those to find your lengths really quickly. Once you have all of your pieces cut and all of your fittings ready, you're ready to do a dry fitting of these before we assemble the entire thing and glue things together. You just want to make sure everything fits really well. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So the other piece of this cookbook stand, which is the piece of wood, will be fit in here. And these two small 1/2-inch pieces of tubing and these two caps will come into play and will be attached onto this piece of wood itself. Now on to the next step before I show you what we're going to do with these. Okay, so at this point we want to figure out where we need to drill our holes for our book rest to go through the wood. So I'm just going to turn my wood like this. We're going to be focusing down here. So if you take a look here, I've already got these two little X's on my board, and this is where I'm going to drill each hole. So I'm going to put my drill bit on the center of the X, and that is exactly where I'm going to drill. So you're going to need those to be 7 inches apart. You can see here, you're going to center these 7 inches on your board. And then you're going to want your holes to start about 1 inch up from the bottom. So in order to have that happen, you need this X to be 1 5/16 of an inch from the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and drill my holes. So now I've got my holes drilled, and now I'm just going to want to go ahead and just tidy up the edges of my board and around my holes just to make things look a little bit neater. I'm just going to use a piece of sandpaper for that. And now at this point is when you're going to want to paint your board or stain your board if you want to do that. If you want to just leave it natural, then that's up to you, but I would recommend at least sealing it or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and paint mine. So at this point, you should have your board painted if you choose to paint it. If you guys want to see how I painted mine, you can head over to my blog, and I will have that link in the description for you so you can check that out. So the next step is, as I mentioned, attaching these little pieces to our board. So these are just our 1/2 inch little pieces of tubes and our little caps. So what we're wanting to do here is we want to make sure that these are centered. So I'm just going to line up my ruler with that line. So one of the marks on my ruler with that line. And then I want this to be an 1.25 inches from the center to the outer edge. So then you just want to take another straight object and just make sure that that's lining up. So once you've got those evenly spaced apart, then you're just going to take 2 little tubes, just make sure that they're long enough, and we want these to line up along the top edge. So we're just going to use our straight edge and pull those down. Double check to make sure everything lines up. So once you've got those in there, you're just going to take your pencil and gently hold it in place. You just want to draw around the perimeter. So for the next step, you're going to reposition your tubing. You're going to need to take something nice and soft like a cloth. You just want to hold this in place and then put your cloth over top of it. Make sure you're holding it in place really well, and then you're just going to start to tap it very gently. Once you get a little score line and you know where it is, you can take your cloth and your hammer and tap harder until you get a nice groove for this to fit into. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to do it on this table because this table is not sturdy enough. So now you can see that I've got my little grooves in here. So once you, and I recommend using a piece that you're not going to actually be putting in here to do your hammering. And if you have trouble getting the grooves to happen, just tap it in, and once you start to get a bit of a groove, if it doesn't want to go anymore, you can use your screwdriver and a hammer just to go around that circle to create a deeper groove. And that should work. You just want enough of, you want it to be deep enough so that it's going to hold on to these little pieces for gluing. Alright, so I didn't realize my camera wasn't recording, but luckily I didn't get too far. I just glued these 2 little 1/2 inch pieces of tubing in their place, and I'm using this glue here, and it comes in a little box like that. So I've already done this, and then now I'm just going to glue these pieces on top of here. So I'm actually just going to set this piece aside to dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to start gluing the other pieces together. Alright, so we're ready to glue our pieces together now. We're not going to need these pieces here for now, so I'm just going to remove those pieces. So we're just going to start with these. So now I'm just going to set that piece aside, and I'm going to start gluing this piece here that goes up like this. So now I've got all of my pieces glued together in these 4 sections. So I'm just gonna let these pieces set up for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'll assemble the rest and glue the rest. And we're ready to get this project finished. So we're just going to start by attaching our board. So this section here is going to go through the back part of our board. And then through here, you can see them come through, just like that. We're just going to pull it right through. And from here, we're going to glue these 2 sections on here. And then we're going to glue this section on top of those like this. So now I've got the whole thing together. And now I just have to let it set up. But let's take a look at some better photos of this since you really can't see what's going on here. So I hope that you guys like this project as much as I like it, and I had so much fun making it, so I hope that it'll be fun for you guys as well. If you did, as usual, don't forget to click the thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to keep up with all of my latest videos. You can also come and find me over on social media. I'll have all of those links in the description. If you're looking for some extra tips and tricks and certain things like I mentioned in the video, I will have those over on my blog, so I'll leave that link in the description as well. I hope you guys have a super awesome day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!